All right, welcome back to the show. Zach is back for our Bears versus the Texans preview. Homecoming for Coach Lovie Smith,
Yes, sir.
the white bearded wonder, as we all call him now. Uh, Former head coach for the Chicago Bears. Um, Very similar looking teams as we were discussing beforehand. It should be a decently evenly matched game, I would think, comparably where the programs are. Texans might be maybe in a quote unquote worse spot because they had a quarterback that liked massage therapists too much, but that's neither here or there.
Oh no.
Um, but
Oh no.
Zach's back. I'm going to say this now. Make sure you check out his podcast, Inside the Walls USFL podcast. We're going to tweet at him every day to get Gridiron back. And by we, I mean me. But check all that out first. But Zach's back. Let's talk Bears Texans. No more Packers. Bears Texans. We're moving on.
Texans going back to Chicago, bringing in the boys down from H Town up here to the Windy City itself, and as you said, a reunion with Lovie Smith. Which, dear God, his beard is beautiful.
It is. It's glorious.
It is glorious. It's like it's almost like a Santa Claus beard.
It is.
Except yeah.
When he was at U of I and he popped it out, everybody in Champaign was, "What? What is that?" And then, oh my God, it's glorious. It's beautiful.
So yeah, he brings that swagger up to him. But I mean, talk about a reunion. I mean, first off, with Lovie Smith, folks. I mean, if you're talking top coaches in the Bears history overall, I mean, once you get past the Hallis and then you get past Mike Ditka, it's Lovie Smith. He's number 3 on that list. 81-63 and one record in Chicago, one Super Bowl appearance. 2 NFC Championship title appearances, 3-3 record in the playoffs. It's just sometimes we had we had some of the best defenses in Bears history under his tenure. There's not much else to say. Just couldn't get a ring, and some people will knock him, and including me sometimes, for not enough consistent good seasons. I think was really were the 2 things that you can kind of hold him for. But I mean, he's in terms of Bears history, he is definitely a top 3. He's the 3rd, easily.
Yeah, and we all and during his time, we saw some of the best defensive players. You had Brian Urlacher, Lance Briggs, Peanut Tillman. All these guys.
Two of those guys actually just got nominated for Pro Bowl or for Hall of Fame votes
yes.
today. So Tillman and Tillman and Briggs. That is Owen Kreutz actually as well is in that list. Yep. Although that was more of a Jerry Angelo pick from before that time. So I mean, take that as you will. But I digress. Like this man helped build some historic Chicago Bears defenses. Not. I would say they wouldn't match the 85 one, but like the 06 Bears defense is one that still was one to be reckoned with going in to that to Super Bowl 41 in Miami.
Yep.
A lot of people did think that there was a chance it could slow down Peyton Manning and get a win just on that alone.
Almost. I still remember that vividly. Had Devin Hester on the team. It's a shame that he's not a Hall of Fame. It's sad.
He'll be soon though. I think he has to go in. Too much of an impact on the game.
If he had a ring, I think he would have been in already. I think that's what they're like hesitant on kick returners being in there. I think Pat McAfee had voted for Hall of Fame today, which was cool. I think they were talking about that today.
That's nice. He's part of the media. I like that.
Yeah, I just thought of that. But yeah, he had good Bears teams. When you listen to like Jay Cutler was a quarterback there and they traded for him for Denver, they finally started to figure out how to get a good offense put together there, and they just couldn't stay healthy. And in the NFL, it's not for long, is what people say. And when your defense gets a little bit older and your offense can't stay healthy and they get a little bit older, there was that window where he could have gotten a ring and they just couldn't do it. And that happens. Yeah. It totally happens. And you can't be mad about losing to Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl. And that's what happened.
They had two good runs. I mean, that was the first one. The second one, and honestly, looking back, even people pointed out like they were maybe one injury away from possibly upsetting Green Bay and then going to play Pittsburgh in 2011 with, 2010 season going into 2011 with one of the worst historically played offensive lines in Bears history. I mean,
Yes.
I think that was something that I learned, and that was when I was still younger and more. I say that when I was younger, I was more fan centric, less looking at the game.
Mm-hmm.
Is how I do it. And like looking back at that team, the fact if they would have even made the Super Bowl would have been insane to think about because they were giving up like in a ridiculous sack count that season. And the fact that Jay Cutler was taking that beating and they still finished with 11-5 record shows you how good that defense was. First off, second, Mike Martz's offense was okay, but like they had potential there, and they still were making it work.
Yep. Oh gosh, I was 21 years old. I'm old. I'm getting old.
Mm-hmm.
Way to make me feel old on this.
I'm sorry. I was, let's see, 2011. I would have been a freshman in high school. So
oh God.
Pushing 16.
Oh God. But also we had like 5 offense coordinators during that end of the run for Lovie. But, good times with Lovie. He built a good Bears program. It was a tough Bears program. No matter who they played, you could beat the Bears, but they earned that win. The defensive stuff he learned from, Gundy and all them and Tampa Bay, learning that Tampa 2 defense, bringing Chicago, adapting it really, and people started to mimic it. People still do to this day. I'm sure that you see athletic linebackers dropping in the middle like Brian Urlacher and, all that stuff. And he tried it at Illinois. Didn't work. But I think people underestimate and overlook Lovie now because he got fired from Chicago going 10-6, which was tragic. Goes to Tampa. I think he was trying to overcoach and trying to prove something too much, and it just didn't work. Went to Illinois, tried to get back into the college game. Got us to a bowl game once, but that Tampa 2 defense doesn't fit in college. It doesn't work. Then he went back to the Texans, and now he's there, and now he comes home, and I think he's the perfect head coach to try to weather the storm of fingery massage therapist situations that the Texans found themselves in with the quarterback at the Browns. But I think he's the perfect guy for that. But yeah, coming to Chicago, Texans are coming off tough season of their own. They're 0-1. They're 0-1. They tied the Colts. They played the Colts tough. Who people are high on the Colts. The Colts.
They
and
were.
They tied them.
They were high on them.
They were.
After last week, I think people are putting them at the bottom of the scrap pile with Chicago and Houston.
Which is sad. You have Matt Ryan at quarterback and all that, but that's here or there. This is not a Colts show. This is a Chicago Bears show.
Exactly. I get enough Colts talk living in Indianapolis. I don't need more. I want my Bears discussions, please.
And that's what I'm here for. But Bears being 1-1, Texans being 0-1-1. They played Colts tough. I mean, they're playing tough. That's the thing you're going to see with Lovie Smith teams. And like we were talking earlier, very similar in stats. They're very similar. Almost the same team.
Well, here's the thing. Look at Houston's last 2 weeks. It took basically fourth quarter collapses for them to lose or tie. They were up 17 on Indianapolis week 1, and they kind of just fell apart. Offensively, they couldn't get going. Right. And then against Denver, it really took them kind of scraping out a 3-point lead going into the fourth quarter. And then Russell Wilson went, okay, we need to finish this off. And they just kind of did enough to take a win. So you're going to be going in for a tough battle one way or another. Houston's defense has definitely stepped it up, it looks like. Offensively, I would say Davis Mills, he can get streaky. So don't underestimate him, but also this isn't going to be Aaron Rodgers you're going against. Hell, even their backfield, this isn't even going to be Aaron Jones or anything. This should be closer to your level, like what you would want to play right now to get a win. They're a rebuilding team. They're a scrappy rebuilding team, so this won't be an easy battle, but they're a rebuilding team.
Right. You're right. They're a few collapses away from being 2-0 right now. They could be 2-0. And like you said, David Mills can get hot, and he's I mean, Justin Fields right now in 2 weeks, 15 of 28, 191 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Mills is 42 of 75, 417 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like they've thrown the ball more. He's played better. And it's scary on the stats. Points per game, 14.5 they scored for Texans, 14.5 for the Bears as well. Points allowed, Texans give up 18, the Bears give up 18.5. Yards is totally flip-flopped. You could tell the Texans pass more. They averaged 208 yards passing so far in the first 2 weeks, 78 on the ground. The Bears are 95 through the air, 139 on the ground.
That's so weird to hear a Lovie Smith run team is more pass happy than it is run savvy at this moment in time.
Yeah, I'm going to guess his time in college kind of made him go, well, maybe I should adapt to what I have. So maybe he's looking at going, well, this is what I have, and this is what we're going to do. In college, it was hard for him to adapt. Of this defense doesn't fit the team, so how do we adapt it? And I think he was trying to force it again too much.
Right.
And I like Lovie Smith. This is not me like bashing Lovie Smith. Just from a fan looking at the U of I and college, it just didn't work. He is an NFL coach. So I think what he's looking at probably is like, well, I have Mills who can pass. Probably don't really have a good run game. This is what we're going to do.
Sure.
But you're right. It's still hard to see that. And it's just hard to see the flip-flopness. The Bears have 95 yards passing to all these runs. And the Texans are just flip-flopped.
But here's the thing, though. This is why I think fans are looking at this game in particular now going, all right, you've had 2 games. You had one that was in the rain. We understand that the passing game was a little anemic. You had to run it a little more until you kind of found opportunities. And then against Green Bay, they just got stopped and they had to eventually go to the run to bail out.
Mm-hmm.
Houston gives up right now, and this has been in decent conditions with both games. They're giving up almost 300 yards a game right now through 2 games. Personally, if I look, Luke Getsy, I'm pleading here right now. Just open it up a little more. Use all the tools at your disposal. This is your next best chance to give some confidence to Justin Fields moving through the season. Houston they can leak out. Their defense is a little more stingent this year, but there are opportunities there if you let the playbook get a little more opened up. So I think this one, if I want to say that they do 20 pass attempts plus in this game. I mean, they can run the ball too on them. Houston also has been giving up 163 a pop through 2 games. So it's not impossible that they could just stick with the old game plan and win it if they want. But there are opportunities in the yards department. They just have to finish drives as well, because Houston's been opportunistic at just stalling drives in these 2 first games, which is funny. That sounds exactly like Lovie Smith. Bend, don't break.
Right.
Keep us in a game. You can give up yards, just don't give up touchdowns.
Right. And I think you said this, and I might have spaced on it. I apologize if you did. Like you said, this is the perfect team to try to pass on.
Yes.
Just to see if you can do it.
Yeah, so far this season, this would be your best chance right now.
Right. Before they start getting into their schedule. Because if they don't and they rely on this run game, Lovie will figure it out if you give them time, because they've already proven they can play tough. Now, I know they've given up leads, but there's going to come that moment, like you said, where if they're playing tough and it's perfect weather conditions, which it's Chicago, so who knows? It was 92 degrees today up here in the suburbs, sweating
Right.
ridiculous.
We're suffering the same down here in Indy, by the way, like high 80s, low 90s for today and tomorrow.
Well, then by Friday it's going to be 62, so I don't know what's going on up here.
Right.
But we don't know, and it could be snowing on Sunday. I have completely no idea what's going to happen. But like you said, if they don't open up the playbook this week, we're never going to see it. It's never going to happen against them. I was trying to find something on the Bears. I apologize. This is horrible podcasting.
I also should say, and this is why I also think passing will be a better option this week than the previous 3. Yes, Houston has gotten 5 sacks over the first two games, but to me, you're going to be having a less significant pass rush in terms of folks that are going to be terrors on Justin Fields in this one. I mean, sure, Jerry Hughes still is effective, but compared to what Green Bay has, and especially compared to what San Francisco has at their disposal, again, you should be able to better protect. And I also want to stress, I hope that like we talked in our recap of Green Bay, I hope they just settle on a line and just stick with it instead of flipping around, because I think that's part of your issue too. Is you keep trying to adapt who you have in mid game, and I don't think that's just not a good call to me. So I really believe you can. Against Houston, you should have a better chance of getting a better pocket if you want to stick with the pocket passing. Personally, you should be getting more RPO in here anyway. Try and do better jobs with play action or bootleg. And if it is bootleg, Justin Fields just has to be better at reading if it's a blown bootleg,
Right.
as we talk. So Houston is the perfect test team this point in the year to see, okay, maybe we aren't, say, at the Packers level, like the litmus test game that we had with Green Bay, but how good are we in terms of a team that's on our level? This is the same style team. To me, Chicago and Houston are both in the same playing field right now. They're both rebuilding. Chicago won't admit it, but they're rebuilding, just like Houston is. So you have two teams that are currently in developmental phases. This is a time to eval as well.
Right. I found what I was going to say. I want to make sure I had the right team right. If you're going to open up the playbook, you have to do it this week and next week because you have the Giants, because you have the Vikings right after. And I know we're rebuilding and people are going to, say what they will about this. I don't like the tanking thing to get, draft picks. I understand it, but there has to be that competitiveness of these are the next 2 weeks where we have to open this up. And then we want to be competitive in the division with Minnesota. So they have to figure it out these next 2 weeks.
Well, call me crazy, but I think Houston you'll definitely want this week because, maybe I'm wrong, but the Giants, they're kind of playing all right now.
Yeah, they are. They confidence. Confidence is key to all sports. I guess life in general, but sports confidence and having fun with that offense coming in with their new head coach. If they're having fun and they're confident and they're flying around, and Barkley, if he's healthy, that's not a team you bat an eyelash at if you're the Bears in the spot you're at.
Well, if you're the Bears rush defense right now, you definitely don't want to see Saquon Barkley coming up right after Aaron Jones just did what they did to you.
No.
So this is, give us a little bit of break. Cause I know there's a lot of hype around Dameon Pierce in Houston when he got his start in week 1, but no, they have not been able to lean on that on their run game as their bread and butter. They've had to throw it. So you should have a little bit of a break. Have a bit of a break,
But that's also this week for the Texans. We got to see this pass rush from the D line. We have to see them step up and play better and figure out confidence. So that defense, with Eberflus being a defensive guy, we'll figure it out. But you have to figure it out before the Giants even. You got to figure that out because Barkley has 236 rushing yards already. He's feeling good. Daniel Jones even, and I'm getting way ahead of myself, he has 364 passing yards, way more than Justin Fields. So going back to the Texans, if you can't pass rush Mills, you can't get after that offensive line, you can't fly around. Is Gordon going to be attacked more? I think he'll be fine as the year goes on because he's young, but he's got to people have to step up and be physical with the receivers for the Texans to make Mills force some throws. They have to get pressure. Roquan Smith will be fine. People can get off his back, from his Green Bay game. But that's the things they have to do on defense also against the Texans.
Yeah, defensively against the Texans, it's going to be focusing on slowing down their passing attack. And I wonder as well, and I think this is what worries me now 2 weeks into, will teams continue to key in on Kyler Gordon at that point? Because, Rodgers was able to do what he wanted. Now, credit, that's Aaron Rodgers. So you have to kind of go with a little bit of a asterisk on it. It still was Aaron Rodgers. He's a master at doing this type of stuff, and credit, Matt LaFleur also is a good play caller. I'll admit it, finally, years later. But, even that being said, against San Francisco, when there was decent conditions, that was kind of who they were picking on was Kyler Gordon. One or two of those nicer pass plays that Trey Lance had. So do they do the same thing? Yeah. Does Kyler Gordon learn from Aaron Rodgers and they get better? We need to hope so, because that is going to be probably a focus for teams, is they'll see that on tape and go, okay, if this guy can't cover, say, a Brandon Cooks, we can maybe burn him for Brandon Cooks down deep, or maybe, we can get a few passing routes down shallow and do some quick slants and get him off the ball, because they're not going to run as much, I think. They haven't developed that as well, but passing wise, Davis Mills still can sling it a little bit. He's not a star, but he does, for his second year tenure. He plays like a veteran right now. So, give him enough opportunities, he can find spaces.
Right. That's where the defense with Eberflus has to figure out. They have to dial up pressure somewhere to allow Gordon to pass, defend the pass. And they may have to change up the coverages too to give him some help. I know he is the help. He's supposed to be over the top. He's supposed to be doing that things, but they may have to adapt to where maybe he comes down in the box and they do something different, some run invert stuff. I don't know. I wish I had all the film to watch them. I might buy NFL Plus and get the Coach All 2022 film just to do it.
That might be me too.
I'm looking at it, and I'm just, what's holding me back is, do I want to spend $80? And then am I allowed to put it on YouTube? Because I would totally break it down, and I don't know.
I wouldn't trust it. I bet the NFL would knock you for doing that.
But I did pay them. So that's where I'm curious.
Okay, I see what you're doing. I'm just wondering, I'd be going, I don't know, I'm a little safer, I guess, but I'd love to hear your experiment.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear your experiment. I'll take that.
Because it'd be really cool right now to pull up the film and show what I'm talking about. So I need to figure out a way to get NFL rights to the film. I got to figure that out. But
we'll see. We'll see if we can find that,
But yes, I'm close to buying that, getting the all 2022 film. I'm all about it.
Right. Looking at Houston again. So one thing that is a good sign, Houston's been giving up 3 sacks a game right now. So again, there's opportunities, and this is a rebuilding team as well. They're going to have, they'll have some flaws still, and I think they didn't really invest, I'm aware of, as much in the line on their end. So Mills, there's opportunities to stall drives through, getting a Robert Quinn speed sack. Travis Gibson showed up last week at 2 sacks on Aaron Rodgers. He did a great job there. There's guys they can get opportunities to get pressure in this one. So take that. And then beyond Brandon Cooks, Nico Collins, I guess there's not too much depth receiver-wise for Houston beyond Cooks. I mean, O.J. Howard had a good week 1, but he wasn't really present week 2. Rex Burkhead, sometimes out of the backfield, sometimes a scat back, I guess, but really Brandon Cooks will be your main target for Houston right now. That's their big star.
Yep. We need that from defense. We need Robert Quinn to be Robert Quinn. We need all those guys to step up. Then offensively, I think we already said it. And I totally blanked on this, and you probably said it, and I apologize because I'm getting old. We already talked about it. I forget that Tevin Jenkins also, they're putting him at tackle and guard. They keep flip-flopping it from positions.
Well, it's not just like Lucas Patrick. That's why. Because Patrick, they keep moving, and they put Jenkins in.
Yeah, and then
they flip Jenkins back over. Again, this should not be happening in a regular season environment.
No.
So this is silly to me. I find that this whole process of them evaluating evaluating Jenkins right now is silly as all God.
Being an O-line coach, it's hard. You want the same starting 5 to get a rhythm so they can communicate and get to know each other and know how to block and, figure things out. When you put a guy at right guard and then, okay, now you're going to put him at right tackle. Now you're going to put him at left tackle. Trust me, I've done it. I've had injuries where I've had to do it. It's horrible because now you're asking, the blocking scheme doesn't change. It's the same thing, just to the other side. But now you're talking about changing up your footwork. You're talking about doing this. You're talking about different angles. You're talking about, well, I'm in the trenches and I'm going against a big guy. Now you're putting me on the tackle. Why do I go against a speed guy? Things happen and they happen quick. And we said on the Packers one, if one guy is better, you have to play that person. If you're indecisive, play the better person. Until that person beats them out in practice, like if Jenkins comes into practice and just does better, then you play him. Then if he's struggling in the game, you take him out and put the other guy in. But then don't turn around and be like, well, now you got to put him back in. Like, it doesn't make sense. So I apologize if you said that already, but I wanted to reiterate that. Like, I totally blanked that it was two positions, which makes it worse. It's not just taking him out, putting a guy in. It's you're going to go here, then he goes here, then we're going to put another guy in, he goes here.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Like, what are we doing here? The O-line's struggling enough.
That needs to be. I hope that they don't keep doing this. Like it can't go the whole season like that. It's impossible to do that all year.
Need that to be cleaned up. We need to see Montgomery and Herbert and a lot of action stuff. They need to get some touches and lots of yards. And Komet's got to step up. I know they'll probably use him to block, but he needs to have some big-time catch Sunday. Mm-hmm. Big-time catch. Touchdown pass or some 20-yard run or something. He needs something to, like, get him going. People are writing him off, too. They're calling him Notre Dame trash and all this stuff. Like, he can't catch. And, that needs to happen.
Yeah.
Did we miss anything? We covered a lot there because similar teams.
I mean, yeah, they're pretty similar. Not even stat wise, but honestly, just again, they're both rebuilding as much as, like I said, front office of the Bears won't admit it, but they are. This is a rebuilding team. So, yeah, I think really litmus test game, an opponent that is winnable but scrappy. Lovie Smith's going to have his guys ready to fight come Sunday. But yeah, I think that about covers. I'm ready to make a pick, quite frankly.
You go ahead and make your pick because you have the positive vibe. See, I could sit here right now and say we're losing 20-0. This is what's going to happen. Okay. But you bring in the positive vibe, which helps me think about it.
I think, and I know it would be easy for me to continue my negative energy, but from last week. But I actually do see Chicago winning this. Reason being is that I think the Bears defense, for the most part, the run defense was horrible last week, but they are in a favorable scenario where things are matching up. Houston hasn't been able to establish the run game in their previous two matchups, and I think passing wise, they should be able to keep contained enough what Houston has to offer. Honestly, if they can lock down Brandon Cooks, I think that they're able to do what they want here and slow down Houston enough to get a win. And on the offensive side of the ball, sure, Lovie Smith has a bend don't break, but it's not a Bears level bend don't break from 06 or 2011 where, it'll mostly stop you for not scoring a TD. They'll be able to get some opportunities to get touchdowns where they can win this one out. I do think that neither team breaks. I do think at least one team won't break 20 points, and it's going to be a lowish scoring affair. Give me Chicago 20-13 on this one. It'll be a one possession victory for them. They'll feel good about it. I don't think it'll be pretty. I don't see it where it's like that breakout, like what we thought Mitch Trubisky had against the Bucs type of game, like back in 2018. But do give me a win. It'll be a feel good for Justin Fields somewhat, and the Bears will have enough talent to where they should be able to beat the Texans on Sunday.
All right. Zach's got the Bears 20-13. I think this will be a good/ugly game. And what I mean by that is both teams are going to bend and they won't break. So it's going to look nice. Like, oh, here's a big play here. Here's a big play here. Something happens here. Good drive, something like that. I think the Bears will get back to their run game because of the success they had in the first quarter and then at the end of the game versus the Packers. I think that's a wake-up call of, we do have David Montgomery. We do have Herbert. We could get play actions off of it if we start establishing this O-line situation. Maybe they start adding in what I call the barge, where they put in another lineman or two more linemen and just start doing that. Who knows? Yeah. What do I know? I'm just a lonely high school coach. What do I know about that? But I don't see – I have a bad feeling that we're still going to see the same struggles in this game from Justin Fields. I feel like we're going to see similar struggles. I do think this is a game where maybe Gordon steps up and gets more confidence. Maybe they'll give them some help in coverage. I think you'll see tweaks. Playbook open up. I'm with you. I think it's a low-scoring game. I'm going to go Chicago with the win only because I think the run game for them will be better than the Texans. I do think the Texans will try. I think them watching Green Bay will say, you know what, we're going to try this and try to run the ball. But I have Chicago winning 17-14, being a low-scoring affair, coming down to 3 points. The Bears could march down the field and kick a field goal to win. They could be up 17-7 and Texans score and all that stuff. So it's Chicago 17-14. We'll still see the same struggles, unfortunately, I think. I think it's just who they're going to be this year. Every announcer has talked about it. The Bears will take lumps this year. It's been talked about. It's rebuilding. We have so much money in the bank for next year. That's what it's talked about. But it'll be a tough, hard-hitting game with Lovie and Eberflus, two defensive guys going at it. But yeah, Chicago 17-14.
Fair enough.
With that,
I think, should be a win. I don't see why they couldn't get this one. Houston, they're not a slouch this year per se, but there's openings here. Chicago should be able to should get this. It's on Soldier Field. If they don't win against Houston, that better puts, I think, perspective on how much more needs to be developed for Chicago. Simple as that. The Texans are on the same level, even mostly on the statistical basis right now. So, we'll see. But I think this is a win for them.
If they don't win, I'm buying a Mitch Trubisky jersey and wearing it next time.
Hey, you can get those for cheap now, too. Probably get those for cheap.
A Bears one? Yeah, I could probably find one.
Oh, yeah, Bears one. No, don't go buy a Steelers or Bills one. Actually, could you even find a Bills one without going into a Chinese website?
It could say virus. I'm still going to click on it to buy it if I can get a Mitch Trubisky jersey.
Of course.
Hey, I am the curse of the jersey. And here's what I mean. I got a Brandon Marshall jersey way back when, and then a couple months later, bye-bye, he was traded. And I was like, well, that sucks. Then I got a Khalil Mack jersey, the 100-year anniversary one.
Oh, no. Yeah.
And bye-bye, gets traded.
Worst anniversary year ever.
Yeah, but it was a nice jersey.
Yeah, it was. That patch is nice. Actually, I got one for the first 1936 jersey one. I just haven't put the patch on yet. It's sitting right here at my house. I got to get that bad boy stitched or glued on.
Yes, sir.
What's your other curse though? You have one more curse, you said, right?
No, it was those two.
Just those two?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I have a Derrick Rose jersey, but I think that was not the year he got hurt.
Yeah. What could have been?
I have a Kobe Bryant jersey.
Okay.
I won off of Kelsey and them's giveaway for their thing jersey. I got a Justin Herbert one. I won that one, which is nice. Baby blue Chargers one. It's nice. I have a Patrick Kane jersey from years and years ago.
Okay.
I think that's it. I just have a normal Cubs one. Yeah, no curses. It's just Bears. The Bears, I am cursed with jerseys. So I thought about this to end this. If I don't want Justin Fields no more, I'll just go get his jersey, and then here in a couple months, something will happen, and he'll go away.
No, give it time. Don't go buy the jersey yet. Give it a little more.
He gets 3 years. About year 3, if nothing's changed, I'm going to go. I know someone that can give me the jersey for half off. I have my ways, and I'm going to go get it and go away.
Yeah, look, give it a here's the thing, and this is even for Bears fans out there. Give it this year, going next year, because it is a developmental year. Give it till year 3, in my opinion, when you can spend and give him pretty much hopefully whatever arsenal he wants on that side of the ball, and then whatever they can buy on defense plus the draft. Like 2023, they've been teasing as 2023 is the year Chicago's back. So if next year things are really off the rails and they've spent a ton of money and they draft and it's not looking good, yeah, sure. Maybe you go buy that curse and maybe we go talk about moving on, because that's really kind of when the make or break is, if I'm being honest. So
we get prepared to be the Arlington Bears. That's what's going to happen. We'll get prepared to be the Arlington Bears.
There you go.
And the Chicago
slap an A
Jaguars.
on that helmet.
Then the Chicago Jaguars will come to town.
Jaguars.
It'll happen. All right. Well, Zach, thanks for coming back, talking about the Bears. Again, hopefully weekly thing here, as long as my schedule allows. We just wait and see for recaps and previews and all that good stuff. It's fun to talk Chicago Bears each week. It's been sad. Never mind. I was gonna say it'd be happy, but it's been sad.
It's been sad, but we'll make it through. Let's get that win. Win number 2. We'll get back to the happy old trail,
and then trade for Jimmy G next year. All right, we gotta.
Yeah. QB competition, baby, 2023.
And I will not buy a Jimmy G jersey because of the curse. I will not do it.
No, God. Oh, God.
All right, Zach, thanks for coming back. We both got Bears winning. We'll be back for a Chicago Bears recap versus the Texans next week. Until then, thanks everybody for watching or listening. We will see you next time.